So the second tab that we're going to be looking at is the Insert tab up at the top. Now with the Insert tab, I'm not going to look at every single feature within the Insert tab. I'm just going to look at the ones that are important to us for this course, and the ones that you will be assessed on for your final summative. So for the first section of the Insert tab right here, you have a section called Pages. Now Pages has two significant features that we're going to look at. The first one is cover page. Now, cover page is good to know about and good to have when you're doing a report. Now, we don't really do reports in this class, but if you were to do a report for another class, it'd be good to know that it exists. So if you just kind of hover over the cover page icon here, it's going to, this little drop down menu is going to come up, and all these different types of cover pages are going to appear. Now, what you could do with all these cover pages is you can modify all the information on it. So say, for example, I decide to pick this one right here. And I can now, this could be my cover page of my report or whatever it is I'm working on, and I could modify all the information on this page. So year, I could put in this year. I could put in today, click on today, and there's the year for this year. Type in the document title. So now I could type in my title. Maybe I'm doing a report about the or an economic analysis of world's oops. An economic analysis of World War II. Maybe that's what I'm writing my report about. So my title could go there. Again, I could also change the picture. If I don't want this image, I could bring in a different image. And I could put in my name and the course code and all that stuff down here. And then my actual report will begin on the next page. So this first section, this first little icon here is just a cover page that allows you to add any cover page to your report. The second significant feature within this Insert tab in the Pages section is the blank page option, or the blank page feature. What this feature lets you do is it lets you add a blank page to your document. So right now, currently, I have 2 pages. Now, if I want to add a third page to my document, I just click on blank page, and there's my third page. The second section within my Insert tab is Table. Now, Tables lets me create a table onto my document. So say I want to put a table on the second page right here. I'm going to zoom back in. All you do is you go over to the table icon, click on the table icon, and a little drop-down menu will come down. Now, I could create my table right off this grid and decide how many columns and rows I want. So once I hover over these little boxes, it shows me how many columns and rows I am going to have in my table. So let me try that again. Table. I could have a table there's a table that's 1 by 1, as it says up at the top, or I could have a table that's 2 by 1, 2 by 2. And so this will let me decide how large I would like my table. You could also go back and change the columns and the rows and add more or take some out once you have clicked off of this little option. So for example, if I want a table that has 3 rows and 3 columns like so, I will select that on this little grid, click, and here's my table right here. Now I could type in my table wherever I like, as so. I could modify my table in different ways. So when you click on the table option, up at the top you'll notice you will have a table tools little tab appear. So there's one for design and one for layout. This means that I could change the design of my table and the layout of my table. So if I want my table to be all fancy with different colors, I could have it shaded like so in the different colors. So there's red, green, purple, blue, gray. I could do that. If I want a border on my table, I could have a border around all of it, or I could have a border, the no border at the bottom, like so. So I could change the way my table looks. And I do want a border at the bottom. I could also add columns and rows to my table. So right, if you click on layout, you could insert a row above, like so. So I inserted 3 rows above. Oops, click back on it. You could insert a row below, that inserted 1 row below. I could insert a column to the left, so there's another column, or I could insert a column to the right of that column. There's another one. I could merge my cells if I wanted. So if I click on this, if I click on my first cell, the one that I want merged, if I click on the first row, click on merge cell, it merges my first row as so. You can also merge your columns if you like. So if I kind of hover and this little arrow comes down, oops, if I highlight a column like that, I can merge the cells, and there I've merged my cells. So you could play around with your table as you like after you have brought your table onto your document. And you can also change the height and the width of each cell. So I can make my height, oops, if I highlight this, highlight these two, if I want my height to be larger, I can make it larger. If I want my width of these two to be smaller, I can make it smaller. Okay? And you can also play around with the features within your table. The third section that we're going to be looking at, a part of the Insert tab, is the Illustration section. Now the Illustration section is pretty neat because it lets us add images and shapes onto our document. So if you're doing a pamphlet or a brochure, or even a report with complex information, it gives you the option of organizing it in different ways, or of adding images onto your page to make your report or your document just seem a bit more attractive. So there's different ways that you can add illustrations onto your document. And the first way is by clicking picture. Now a picture will add an image off of your computer. So if I were to click pictures, it'll bring up this little box here, and it'll be just pictures that are currently on your computer. So you could insert any one of those. Also, it will you can also add a picture from Microsoft's image bank. So if you click on clip art right here, these are all the pictures that Microsoft has installed within their software, and you could always use one of their images. So say I want to add a picture of soccer, for example. I just type in the word soccer, and anything associated with soccer will come up. So this is everything that's associated with soccer within Microsoft Word. And now if I want to add one of these images onto my page, so say I want this one, I just click on it, and there it is, right there on my page. Now, this is not the only way that images could be added onto your page. Another way that you could add images is through the internet. So if I want to add another image off the internet, what you could do is go to the internet, type in soccer, like right there, images, and so say I want one of these pictures on my page, what I could do is click on any one of them and add them to my page. So let's take this David Beckham right here. He's always good to have in any document. You copy the image and paste it. And there he is on my document. Another neat thing that I could do with my illustrations is move my images around. So for example, if I want to move this image to a different part of my page, I can actually do that within Microsoft Word. Right now, if I were to click on it, my image does not move around, it doesn't do anything. However, if I were to click on the image, right click, my little drop down menu will come down, go down to text wrapping, click on in front of text. Now I'm able to move my image around wherever I like freely. Again, you just click on the image itself, right click, text wrapping in front of text, and this gives you the freedom to move your image wherever you like. You can even move images one on top of the other. So if I were to right click on this, and if I were to choose in front of text, this will, oops, let's try that again. Maybe if I were to move this one behind text. Yeah. Now I could move one image on top of the other and layer my images together as so. I could also add shapes to my document if I wanted. So if I click on the shapes icon right here, it gives me a list of all these different types of shapes. So I've got basic shape, block, arrows, so different types of arrows, flow charts, callouts, stars, and banners. So if I want this little smiley face on my page, I just click on it. I'll get my cursor to look like this. And all you do is you click, and you could open it up like so. And there's a shape. Another thing that I could do with this illustration section is add smart art. Now this is charts in or graphics in different layouts. So if I want to add if I want to add on my page, say I am explaining a concept and it requires a hierarchy of some sort, an organization chart, I could select this, click on OK, and there's my org chart right there. And I can actually put text into my chart. Another section within the Insert tab is Header and Footer. Now, every single page within Microsoft Word has a header and a footer. What that means is that from the top of the page to where the cursor sits, that space is called the header. The bottom of the page has the exact same space or the exact same boundary, and that's called the footer. And that's at the bottom of the page. You can't see the spaces or do anything with the spaces until you actually click up in this area. When you double click in here, you'll get a section that's kind of blocked off like so, and it says header. Every single page has a header. What you could do with this header is you could type in information. When you click off, it will kind of come out a little shaded like this, and it's not a part of your text, it's just additional information about your document. So if I click off, I could delete that. Within your header and footer, you could always write your first and last name for essays or for reports. You could write other information about your document. In the header and the footer, you also often will have the page number. So if you click on the page number icon here, it gives you different options of where you would like your page number. So if you like your page number at the top of the page, so you just kind of hover over top of page, another drop down will come down and it'll give you different options of where within your header you could put your page number. And there's different ways of adding different types of page numbers. You could do the basic, so right up at the top right there. You could also, let's see if I could change that. You could kind of maybe get a little fancy and your page number could look like this as well. So there's different options for your page numbers. You can also add page numbers to the bottom of your page. So if I want to put a page number at the bottom of my page, I could do that down here. Now, and I picked a different option, so now it says page 4 of 4. And you can have a page number both at the top or the bottom. If you're doing an essay, just pick one. You don't need one at the top and at the bottom, but Microsoft Word will let you put in page numbers, and they'll give you different options on different types of page numbers as well. The last section that we're going to be looking at, a part of the Insert tab, is the text section. This section will let me do different things with my text and with words in general. The first icon here is a text box icon. This will let me write or type in text within a box and move that text anywhere on my page. So if I click on text box, simple text box, a box like this will appear. And now what I could do within this box is write information or type in information. And I can move this box anywhere on my page. So I can move it up at the top, down at the bottom. I can make it smaller if I wanted. I can make it larger if I wanted. It lets me do a variety of different things with my page. I can also get rid of the lines around my text box. So if I click on the line, it's on one of the lines. Right click, go to Format Text Box. Where it says color, I could click on white. Okay. And now the line around my box will disappear, but this the text could still move around wherever I would like for it to be. So the text box options lets you do a variety of different things with the text, and it's good for when you're making a brochure or pamphlet. You can move the text around wherever you like. The other neat feature about the text option here in Microsoft Word is the word art option. Now, if I want my words to be really fancy or funky, if I'm doing a poster or brochure and I want them to be attractive, what I could do is click on this option right here, and it gives me different options of my different options of art for my word. So if I want this right here, and I type in BTA 3.0 Intro to Infotech, which is this course, click on OK, and oops, my text box just is in the way. And here it is right here. My text will appear in a fancy way, which is good for brochures or pamphlets.